are the agencies that shut down the schools for 2 years. Who does that? Who takes away the support system for these children? But I'm excited to address men and kids that have been in school. And also, it's fun to go on late at night. I mean, at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
You can say things that Brian doesn't let us say at 11
Yeah,
in the
I know.
morning.
Exactly.
I've already been getting some warnings about that. Is it possible that we're sending them into known prostitution rings or sweatshops? He said, it's not possible, it is absolute.
Yeah.
That's a symptom, not the problem. Somebody's like hugely pissed about something. That's a symptom, not the problem, right? Because if you're not having any kind of, that's another love language, right? That's another way of expressing your feelings.
Dr. Phil's appearance on The View provided an opportunity for him to explore the concept of narcissism, a personality trait frequently discussed in contemporary political and social commentary. During the episode, he tackled the accusations of narcissistic tendencies in public figures, particularly Donald Trump, with a balanced perspective. He aimed to educate the audience about what narcissism entails, as defined by the DSM-5, and emphasized that it is a broader issue than many might realize.
Think about when I started, it was in '02, the first text message had never been sent.
Wow.
Think about that. The first text message had never, ever been sent. And now we have to deal with
traits like a grandiose sense of self-importance, preoccupation with fantasies of success and power, and a lack of empathy for others characterize narcissism. Dr. Phil systematically dissected these traits, explaining their nuances and how they manifest in different individuals. By bringing in this clinical perspective, he clarified misconceptions about narcissism being synonymous with confidence or ambition.
I talked to the head of all the border guards down there, the head of the union. I asked him straight up, kids are coming over the border with numbers written on them, phone numbers and addresses. Do we check those out? He said, well, we call them. Is it possible that we're sending them into known prostitution rings or sweatshops? He said, it's not possible, it is absolute.
This analysis prompted a heated discussion on The View, where the co-hosts, including Joy Behar, debated whether these traits could disqualify someone from leadership positions. Dr. Phil pointed out that while many leaders display narcissistic characteristics, these do not always meet the criteria for a diagnosable personality disorder. His insights highlighted the importance of distinguishing between normal personality variations and clinically significant conditions.
When they shut it down, they stopped the mandated reporters from being able to see children that were being abused and sexually molested, and in fact sent them home and abandoned them to their abusers with no way to watch, and referrals dropped.
Joy Behar, known for her outspoken and often polarizing views, reacted strongly to Dr. Phil's observations. Her facial expressions and interruptions suggested discomfort with his commentary. As Dr. Phil expanded on the broader implications of narcissism, Behar attempted to redirect the discussion, focusing specifically on Donald Trump. However, Dr. Phil remained composed, using the opportunity to reiterate his points about narcissistic tendencies being common in high-pressure roles.
During this, so it wasn't, people weren't laying around eating bond, but, well, you know what? We're lucky. Maybe we're lucky they didn't, because we kept them out of the places that they could be sick, because no one wanted to believe we had an issue.
The dynamic between Behar and Dr. Phil became a focal point of the discussion. Behar's insistence on labeling Trump as narcissistic seemed to frustrate Dr. Phil, who maintained that diagnosing someone from afar is not only inappropriate, but also unscientific. This exchange underscored the tension between political bias and psychological objectivity.
You're saying no school children died of COVID?
I'm saying it was the safest group. They were the less vulnerable group, and they suffered and will suffer more from the mismanagement of COVID than they will from the exposure to COVID. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact.
The conversation shifted to the broader implications of mental health in leadership. Dr. Phil argued that many leaders face immense stress and pressure, which can lead to temporary displays of traits like anxiety, depression, or even narcissism. However, He cautioned against using mental health labels as political weapons. Leaders, like all individuals, are multifaceted, and their actions cannot be reduced to simplistic diagnoses.
You had an interesting time with our friends on The View talking about COVID. You got a lot of attention for that one.
I did.
It seems like years past, we're still divided by this plague that took 1 million souls from us.
We're divided because of how people feel. I don't really care how people feel.
This perspective clashed with Behar's narrative, as she and other co-hosts attempted to frame Trump's behavior within a specific psychological context. Dr. Phil's refusal to participate in this framing highlighted his commitment to evidence-based discussion, which resonated with many viewers.
I'm not here just to stand up for Donald J. Trump. Lord knows he doesn't need me to stand up for him. He's tough as an old army boot. He's got lots of enemies, different groups that are scared, and between them, they have impeached him, indicted him, raided him, railroaded him, shot him, and sued him. And where is he? He is still standing.
As the discussion progressed, Dr. Phil brought up examples of Trump's generosity, challenging the portrayal of him as entirely self-serving. Stories of Trump helping struggling families and individuals, often anonymously, painted a picture of a complex individual who defied easy categorization. These anecdotes served as a counterbalance to the accusations of narcissism, suggesting that public figures are often more nuanced than their critics acknowledge.
I'm here to talk to and stand up for the people who have declared their support for Donald J. Trump, or they got found out, or they want to do it, but they're too intimidated. Because you know what happens when somebody in this country says, hey, I'm going to vote Republican, I'm going to vote Donald J. Trump? They get canceled, intimidated, marginalized, excluded, or even fired or boycotted.
One such story involved a couple who helped Trump when his limousine broke down. In gratitude, Trump paid off their mortgage, a gesture that surprised and moved many. Dr. Phil used these examples to illustrate that acts of kindness often go unnoticed in the media and are overshadowed by sensationalized narratives.
Listen, I love you guys for caring enough about the United States of America to come out here tonight. Thank you so much for caring enough to come out here tonight. I have to tell you, I love this country. I do. I love this country. I stand up when our flag goes by. I put my hand over my heart when they play our national anthem. And I'm so proud to see so many people take time out of their day to come out here and stand up for this country.
Dr. Phil also addressed the media's role in perpetuating stereotypes and biases. He argued that public figures are frequently scrutinized unfairly, with their actions being interpreted through the lens of political agendas. This observation resonated with viewers who feel that media narratives often lack nuance and fail to capture the complexity of individuals.
To ship children into known prostitution and sweatshops.
Some children.
Well, who knows?
Okay.
We don't know. I said, are you...
So what kind of checking do they do? So
They call the number and say, do you know about this child? They say yes.
The conversation on The View exemplified this issue, as the co-hosts appeared more interested in reinforcing their viewpoints than engaging with Dr. Phil's balanced analysis. His emphasis on facts and evidence provided a stark contrast to the emotionally charged arguments presented by others on the panel.
Will you receive them when they come? Yes. I said, is it possible that that's a prostitution ring? He said, we know enough to know that in a number of cases, it has turned out to be absolute sex ring. It has turned out to be an absolute sweatshop.
Beyond the media portrayal, Dr. Phil highlighted several of Trump's accomplishments that have had a lasting impact. These included moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, brokering the Abraham Accords, and providing significant financial support to individuals in need. These achievements, Dr. Phil argued, demonstrates a capacity for leadership and empathy that contradicts the simplistic label of narcissism.
I barely care how I feel. What I care is what is. What are the facts? What does science tell us, and what are the facts? That's what I care about.
While acknowledging Trump's flaws, Dr. Phil urged the audience to consider the full spectrum of his actions. He emphasized that leadership is not about perfection, but about the ability to achieve meaningful results, often in the face of immense challenges. Despite Dr. Phil's efforts to provide a balanced perspective, Joy Behar continued to challenge him, often interrupting his points with pointed remarks. This persistence created a tense atmosphere on the set as Dr. Phil attempted to steer the conversation back to a more productive direction. His calm demeanor in the face of hostility underscored his professionalism and commitment to fostering constructive dialogue.
I'm launching this new network, April 2nd, Merritt Street Media. Name wasn't chosen at random, by the way.
Yeah,
Merritt Street Media.
Please.
Because I think this country was built on a meritocracy. You work hard, bring value to the table, you get rewarded for it. I think that's a real building block of this country.
Dr. Phil's appearance on The View reminded us of the importance of nuance in public discourse. By focusing on facts and evidence, he demonstrated how complex issues like narcissism and leadership require careful consideration rather than oversimplified narratives. His ability to maintain composure in a contentious environment further solidified his reputation as a trusted voice in psychology and media.
Everyone gets their news from you. You're just to jump in here, when your network starts, you're hosting the primetime show called Dr. Phil Primetime. And for an upcoming episode, my understanding is that you went to the southern border. Now, you're saying that you're going to give people facts. What did you take away from that experience, and what kind of reporting are you going to be bringing back from that experience?
The episode sparked a broader conversation about the role of mental health in evaluating public figures. Dr. Phil's insistence on separating personal biases from clinical analysis highlighted the need for a more informed and compassionate approach to these discussions. His insights encouraged viewers to question the narratives presented by the media and to seek a deeper understanding of the individuals they criticize or support.
News or bad news. And my show is kind of the anchor in prime time. And I'm going to deal with the things I've always dealt with. Real people talking about real challenges, looking for real solutions. But those have changed to include social issues, right?
Dr. Phil's encounter with Joy Behar on The View exemplified the clash between objective analysis and emotionally charged debate by staying true to his principles. So, what do you think? What can we learn from Dr. Phil's masterclass in navigating contentious topics with grace and integrity, where his message of compassion, nuance, and evidence-based discussion left a lasting impact? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue having more honest conversations. See you in the next video.